right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. You're listening to Honest to God on AM 1160, The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. Super pumped to be here today. We got Grace, we got Madeline, we got Annie, and we got Pat coming back.
Pat is back.
Here,
Pat is back.
It's going to be a great day today. We're going to do one fact apiece because you're all veterans, and then we're going to move on to talking about something about the Bachelorette or the Bachelor with the Catahome girls and Pat.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Bachelor over there. But
love it. Every day, watching it. On repeat. The same episode.
Yeah, no, we've all seen that episode. But before we do, we are going to open in prayer. Pat, you mind leading us?
Yeah, of course. And Father, Son, Holy Spirit, dear God, thank you for this day. Thank you for the ability to be here and spread the good word and chat about the Bachelorette and the favorite episode that I always have on loop. Yeah, let's have a good day.
Amen.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, that was great, Pat. Thank you so much for
Prayers
that.
with Pat.
God loves some good sarcasm in the prayer, I find.
Pat prayers, man.
Yeah.
Can't beat them.
Before we dive into whatever we're talking about today with the Bachelorette, I still don't know. So I hope you guys are ready to go on the Bachelorette. But before we do that, I do want to talk about the three of you, Grace, Madeline, and Annie, plus Mackenzie, who's not here, but she's a regular, all live together in this cool, weird community thing that you do. No, I'm not saying that sarcastically. I think it's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that's like and just what it is? Where do you live? Why am I not just calling you roommates? I'm saying you live in this weird little community. What does that mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so something I think is fun, I personally love to tell people, is that I live in my parents' basement because it's like a super cool thing. You know, like they're like, wow, she must be like really amazing,
Hashtag
really cool.
life goals, yeah.
Has her life together, all that. But it's actually really wonderful. We have like the whole basement. We have our own bathroom and laundry room, kitchenette area in our bedroom.
And a separate entrance, too.
Separate entrance, yeah.
We got stairs on the side.
It's actually really nice. I realized that over Thanksgiving break, I actually didn't really see my family much. I didn't really go home. I was there the whole time, but I didn't go upstairs much, which was sad. So for Christmas break, I am going to move upstairs to be, part of the family unit again. But we all live downstairs, and it kind of started, I've known... in one of the other episodes I mentioned, I've known Annie since 4th grade. I've known Mackenzie since 6th. And we met Madeline last year, freshman year of college. But they're all just like such great friends. And we all share the Catholic faith in common. So that was one thing that I was personally really excited about when we moved in together, was being able to have like a Catholic community that like will hold you accountable in your faith, will help you grow in your faith. But also like they're just cool people and we just have fun and we do normal like roommate friend things together. So I've been loving it.
Well, and for the record, you guys don't live like in your parents' basement on a cul-de-sac in Dunwoody. You live on the side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere.
We live right next to Hidden Lake too. So like we're friends with the missionaries there too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Also, real quick, I will want to say Catahome. That's a funny name. It is. But the reason we came up with that was because we thought, okay, let's make it Catholic somehow. Catacombs. We're in the basement, and it's our home. Right. Catahome.
It's very clever, ladies.
Well, your house needs a name. It has to have a name. Also, fun fact, we all don't have separate rooms. We have one room, and we sleep in a triple bunk bed.
Made by... Pat! Yeah, you go, Pat, which is why Pat is here.
Where it ties in. So,
that is the tie.
I would like to say I did not design it or think of it. That was somebody else. R.I.P. They're still alive, but, they're not here. Thoughts and prayers.
And it's 4 a.m., so hopefully they are resting right now.
Hopefully it is an early morning recording. 4 a.m. It's when you do podcasts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you can't do it 5 or past 5 in the morning.
That's when the brain juices flow.
I do have a question. So what do you guys refer to yourselves? So it's the Catahome.
Catahome girls, gals.
Catahome gals.
Not Catahomies? No.
Oh, that's better.
I was sitting here thinking about that the entire time, and I was like, that would be funny if that's what they call themselves.
We're going to be the Catahomies now.
That is better.
That is so good.
There you go.
Thank you, Pat.
For the bunk bed and the name.
There you go.
Hey, Pat, what's your house's name?
My house is... What is my house's name? Pat's place.
Pat's Place?
Pat's place.
My dad has owned a bar in Americus, Georgia named Pat's Place.
Is that where you live?
For 42 years.
I actually live in that bar.
I've seen you back there.
Yeah.
Under
I
the
promise
pool table.
I'm not sad. I'm just living there. So
Oh, you always look happy while you're sleeping by
it's
the
Pat's
jukebox.
place. How could you not smile?
My house's name is Greg.
Aw.
That's
That's
what I'm
interesting.
going. I didn't have a name until we just came around. I live in a
That's
very,
interesting.
very small house.
I'm picturing a gray house for some reason.
It's white. It's about 100 years old. Yeah, it's on the side of a road up in Pickens County.
Sounds like most Gregs I know. So.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, no, but that's great. I just wanted to throw that out there because we had that authentic Catholic community episode a while back that you guys weren't on, right? Were any of you represented in that? I don't think you were.
I don't know. I don't think so.
And a lot of them were, a lot of the people that we talked about, it was a great episode. They were talking about like purposeful community and how they had, they built a thing and they were bringing their people into it, or they were building houses in the same area or whatever. But what you guys do is so cool because it's so like achievable and it's small scale. But I've been down there. It is like a little, I don't want to say monastic life, but don't you guys like pray together and stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
I think that's super cool. I love it. And not to make it weird, but they have a heated toilet seat.
We do.
Oh my gosh. Okay, actually, I do want to like.
This episode of Honest God is brought to you by heated toilet seats.
It is, and you don't realize how much you like. Okay, we have a bidet, we do, and you don't realize how grateful it is until you don't have it. Like when I go home to visit my family, we don't have a bidet.
You
at the
peasants!
Literally!
How can you live like this?
The cold toilet
It
seat.
is. It's, especially during the cold weather. It gets cold down there. And when you wake up in the middle of the night or in the morning and all you want to do is like you just left your warm bed, you sit. It's so nice.
This might not paint me in the best light, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. The shower we have down there is huge. Okay, it's huge. You can't even touch the walls when you do this.
That's nice.
And I went home and I took a shower in my house and I was like, I can touch the walls.
What is
I was like, I don't like it.
Is this how the other half lives?
Actually, this episode is not about the Bachelorette. It's about our house.
Okay, just kidding. Let's go more into the bidets. Fun fact: for $10 an hour, Pat will sit on your toilet seat for you and warm it up. So if you're listening out there and you want this experience, but you don't want to install,
No. Please don't do that.
$10 an hour?
Yeah, really underpaid. Yeah. All right, so let's change gears a little bit from bidets and toilet seats and talk a little bit about The Bachelorette. Whose idea was it to make this show about The Bachelorette?
Okay, here's the deal.
I think we figured it out.
I give into clickbait. I do. And I live this like, I love my life and it's wonderful and beautiful. It's not very dramatic. And it's such a good thing. It's such a blessing. And I love to have that stability. But, however, it's nice to like have a little drama in your life. This is my opinion, not the Quest's opinion. But sometimes you just need a little drama in your life, okay? And so I gave in. I did. I don't know what streaming service it was, but I was like, oh my goodness, The Bachelorette. And I was like, I wonder like what's going on, like the little clip that it shows you and like people are screaming. I think someone threw a drink and you're like, oh my goodness. So I was invested immediately. And you watch one episode and then you have to know where like what happens to their love life and like does Joe Smith stay on the show the whole time or does he get kicked off? You need to know all these things.
Oh, that's right. It's The Bachelorette. So there's one girl and a bunch of dudes.
Why don't you give them a explain?
Yeah, give us a Bachelorette rundown.
Okay.
I was thinking The Bachelor the whole time.
So Bachelor, there's one man and like 30-something women. And then with The Bachelorette, there's normally one woman and a bunch of guys. But this season, one of the most recent ones, they had 2 women.
Yeah.
And that's the one that got
That's
me.
twice as many as before.
Yeah, twice the drama,
You're so
John
smart.
Henry.
That was
Okay,
good math.
that's
That
what
was
got
good
me
math.
because I was like, how are they going to do this? How are they going to navigate this? I was interested, and so I will say that is my fault. Probably wasn't the best idea, but I will say one of the perks of having such a great community is we would watch it together, and half the time we'd have to stop it. We'd be like, "This is not what love is." Like they're looking in all the wrong places, and we would have these actually really great, profound discussions about love and what it is, and like. And why there was so much heartbreak that was going on. It's like a lot of this is avoidable. Maybe don't date 30 men at a time.
Right. No, that is good advice.
But it also was like so obvious the wounds that are in the world and
Oh,
like
yeah.
that people were carrying with them and the way they portrayed it.
All right, y'all
throughout the
stop.
show.
Y'all stop getting deep. We're gonna get real deep in a minute, but first I want to clear this up. All right,
Yeah.
so there's 2 women.
Yes.
There's like 30 guys.
Gabby and
They're-
Rachel.
They're trying to date
Gabby
all
and
of them.
Rachel.
Yes.
These 2 women are both going on dates with all the guys.
So that's what I was like, how are they going to do that? And originally, yeah. But they didn't know what they were doing, the Bachelor franchise or whatever. So they were like, Gabby and Rachel, it's totally up to you, whatever you want to do. We're going to figure this out together. And so probably like, one of like the second like group dates or whatever, like this is not going to work. So like the guys need to choose.
Second group dates?
Oh, yeah.
All right, you're doing a lot of terminology.
I'm so
I
sorry.
really need a full deep dive.
For sure. Okay. So there's like different kinds of dates. There's one-on-ones, which are like the envied, you really want to have that one-on-one time with that person. You can get deep, have good conversations, that kind of thing.
Like a regular date.
Like a normal
humans do.
date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But except there's cameras.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think
it's over 2 months. You got to get engaged by the end.
So you go from meeting to engaged in 2 months.
Yeah.
So that's like what the one-on-ones are like very like you want that because you don't have a lot of time. Yeah. Like sometimes they go a week and a half without seeing the girl.
Okay.
So
but still have to be ready.
What
to
do
get
they
engaged.
do?
They do like these.
And no. Like I just went on a date with Gabby.
Okay.
All right. What do I do between now and my next date with Gabby?
Just think about her.
You hang
or
out with the
try
guys in the
Just hang out in like a dorm room somewhere with
basically
with all the dudes. But they're usually like tropical nice places. So
Oh, okay. That
a
sounds
win.
nice. Yeah.
Win for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So we got group dates. We got one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Go deeper. All right. Tell me more.
Okay. So
Any
then there's,
terminology we need to know before we start to talk about this?
Well, group dates is it's not all of them because there's like all 30 of them. But then the group dates is like maybe 5 she'll take, or I don't know, like.
I mean, at the beginning, it's more like 10.
10.
And like that sets off the relationship. You're starting off the relationship competing for love. Ooh, don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. Like they will have like these competitions and things, and sometimes you can actually like win. You can win like time with the women, things like that, and you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
This whole thing, though, I know you're going to sell it to me. It's going to sound great. It just sounds like the most horrible, like, distortion of love
There's
and
so much
relationship.
like
I was thinking the
mental
same
and
thing.
emotion
Yeah.
going into
That's,
it as well. And also, so you're like, okay, you start off with 30 guys. It's like, okay, how do you end up with one in the end? So by like, it's like weekly they do this, or like after a certain amount of days, they have like a rose ceremony. And at that, the girls will give roses to specific guys that they want to keep on the show. And everyone that doesn't get a rose is out.
Aww.
And
Yeah.
and
How many roses do they
sometimes
give
it's
out?
just
How many?
it depends on how many guys there are.
depends on, how many
normally
are left.
time it's like one guy leaves, but sometimes it is 2 guys leave.
At the very beginning, she cuts a lot. She'll cut a lot.
Yeah,
of
but as
guys.
it goes further down, once it gets down to about 10, it's one guy leaves each time.
Okay.
So it's like that's why
Is
there's
it like one
one-on-one.
guy leaves each episode?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every episode.
So yeah, so that's how it like dwindles
Okay.
down.
This is-
And
And you know what's bad? It's like when they get down to 4 guys and they do hometown dates. So they have to go to their hometowns and meet the families of all 4 of
oh my
these
gosh,
guys.
we will go into that later.
And then
we
act
will.
like, and they tell every single family member that they're like, oh yeah, I'm in love with your son, and I'm like, I plan on marrying your son. But then they're only gonna marry or like get engaged to one of them.
They're like supposed to lie to all of
mean,
them?
I don't know. It's because like the thing is you don't see like wow, I was trying to think of like a random name without giving, because like if somebody
Grace.
wants to watch this, yeah, okay, so let's say Grace. Okay, so Grace goes to Jimmy's house with his family, and because first she goes on a date with him, and then they spend the whole day together, and then either like the next day or that evening she'll go meet his family, and she's like in love with the dude because she spent the whole day with him, a lot of emotions going on there, and she's like, yeah, this is the one for me. I just met his family, we hit it off really well, and then she doesn't see him for a week.
And she goes and does the same thing with another guy.
The next day, she does the same thing with another guy. So it's just like one thing, but like, and at that time, that guy is thinking like, okay, I think I'm the one. But then, like now,
But it's
it ends
also
up-
like how real is it and how much of it is scripted. There's definitely some scripted stuff in there they put in for drama, and there is like some of it is kind of forced. I feel like they're like, oh, you have to do this, or like,
But are they?
So-
They're like kissing and all that stuff.
yeah.
Yo, this
yeah,
is-
and also
it's so
Another
broken.
Another term that would be a good thing to mention. So when you get, I think there's like 3 of them, right? You get down to 3.
the 3, yeah.
Yeah, the
If
final
you take
3.
them all home to your families.
After you take them, yeah. There's the fantasy suites, yeah. So that is an overnight.
that's the first overnight.
You know,
So I assume they have 2 separate bedrooms, and then there's someone.
Yeah.
Okay.
You would like to assume that.
yeah. So that's another problem. I know the season before Rachel and Gabby's, the guy Clayton got a lot of heat for it because he had told the last 3 that he loved them, he was falling in love with them, he was in love with them, and then he slept with 2 of them.
Oh.
And then Gabby and Rachel were like super heartbroken. It didn't end in an engagement. I wonder why. But then they ended up doing the Bachelorette together, and they were like, you know what, we don't want to do this. We don't want to like break people's hearts like that. We have to be very cautious, very safe. And they do the same exact thing. Because it's like we're not meant to pursue like more than one relationship at a time. So of course their emotions and feelings are all like jumbled and confusing.
So the girls on The Bachelorette used to be on The Bachelor?
Yeah, they picked that's what they do next season.
So they know how
emotional abuse the television series.
This is just becoming the most complicated thing I think I've ever listened to.
So the guy for The Bachelor, which is the next season, or the next like thing they'll do, is a guy from their season. Like a guy they dated.
So the only person that has like not been tormented by this is the very first guy on the very first Bachelorette.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, or the one that
I was thinking about how lucky those first guys are.
No, I think about that, yeah.
Don't get a rose on day one.
But it's also like, why are you going on The Bachelor and Bachelorette? I'm just...
Well, we can get into that later with the
Yeah.
I was going to say, I think I have the answer to all of that, but yeah.
Well, I think that like that's one of the best things about it. Like I said, like we would have some really good discussions and we're like, why would they think that this is okay? And then we'll like psychoanalyze everything and we're like, well, of course she thinks this because she's grown up in a household where X, Y, and Z and like all these other things, and we're like piecing them like all the puzzle pieces together. It's a mess.
I'm sorry.
Also real quick, I do want to give a disclaimer. We're gonna try not to spoil it just in case people do want to watch because it's the most recent season.
I want to make it super clear to anybody who's listening that you should not watch The Bachelor.
I like to back that.
Jake, if you do, so you can watch it and then watch this and you can analyze it with us.
No, how about this? Don't watch it.
Yeah.
It's a huge waste of time, and I will never watch another season. I can't do it.
I mean, we could do it as a way of like what not to do. Like they can take our advice on it. And
Download the Chosen app on your phone today. Watch that. There's some hard-hitting drama in there as well.
That's so true. Good show.
And it won't rot your soul.
No. Also, okay, I think we've kind of covered all like the terminology and stuff, but one thing also I do want to mention, I want to like add on to it is like they have these thing called the confessionals, which is where like the guy or the girl after the date or after the group date or whatever just happened, maybe some like big scene broke out, they'll take them into these confessionals where it's just them and the camera, probably some other like camera crew around and stuff.
It's not an actual confessional.
No.
It sounds like everyone needs an actual confessional.
No, this is not. No priest is there. But and so they basically just like. Yeah, I don't know why he was thinking that, like, all this, like, how could he, like, say this to me, like, all these different things, and then it's just, like, or they'll confess to be like, yeah, I just had a really good date with this person, I think they're the one, and so, like,
meanwhile,
they
the other
say
person
all
is
these
saying,
things.
I hate them, and they're,
Yeah,
can't believe
or,
their
like,
mom smelled like that.
also, that's one thing, like, we'll probably, like, talk more about it later, but it's, like, for the person they finally do decide, like, they're, like, that guy or that girl in the end is always, like, oh, like, I was the one. But then, like, if they rewatch it, they'll see, like, all of these other situations that was, like, pretty much the same that happened to them. They happened to everyone else.
Like, the morning they're deciding, like, who they're going to get engaged to or who they want to be, like, the final person, they're like, I don't know who it is, and then blah, blah, blah. And they pick the one person, they're like, it was him all along. I knew from the start. He was on her side. He just treated me so well. And so it's like, but you're sitting there like, they're gonna watch this and no.
Do they ever do like follow-ups with the couples?
Oh, yeah. So that's another thing is I don't think there've been many successful. I think there's like been like 2 maybe.
Color me
marriages.
surprised. You're saying that they didn't come out of these with happy.
No, this isn't a good way to decide a relationship.
There's been more than 2.
In recent years, though, I feel like there's only
There was this really good season a long time ago, and the Bachelor was Sean Lowe, and he was like this really good Christian guy, and now he married to the girl. And they have 3 kids. And
They're still married?
Yeah, and they're still married. They're like
big
really.
shout
They're
out
like
to Sean Lowe. You ever want to be on the show? Drop us a
If you ever
email.
want to watch it, The Bachelor, Bachelorette, I don't recommend. But if you are going to watch it, watch Sean Lowe's season.
Yeah, if you are Sean Lowe, reach out to us at young adults,
Plural at thequestatlanta.com.
young adults with an S at thequestatlanta.com.
And if you know anyone named Sean, like anyone named Sean, comment down below, smash that like button, and subscribe down below.
You go, Grace. Yeah, next episode I think we've got Jeff Goldblum, Jordan Peterson, and Sean Lowe. It sounds like.
Definitely.
We got to have another one.
Is Father Mike coming?
Father Mike, we don't have Father Mike yet. Yeah, I haven't promised our viewers he was going to be on yet. Like I have those other people. We did have
Jeff Goldblum
on.
was here.
Yeah, he was on the one time. Disguised his voice.
Disguised his voice.
Yeah.
In his face?
Yeah. Well, if you're watching on YouTube, he did. Yeah,
he
filters.
did. Yep.
So, Pat, I want to hear your take on all this.
I will tell you what. That was the most insane and confusing thing I've ever listened to. I don't know how people look at that and say that sounds like a great way to spend 2 months. For getting people's drama about romance and life, I usually just go out and talk to random people, and I'm like, tell me about yourself. And it's usually always weird, but it's fantastic. It keeps me entertained.
Yeah.
And I don't have to sit inside and look at a TV. But then I do get to talk to weird people, and then it turns out weird sometimes. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
go out, talk to people.
now
Don't
that
watch TV.
Now that we've gone through sort of the explanation stage, let's get into I'm just going to call it the what have we learned stage from The Bachelorette. And anything. We can go down all the rabbit holes you want. It seems like I was worried about like enough content to fill an hour. I'm not worried anymore. So who wants to kick us off?
Okay, I will kick us off because I think one thing, it's like a main theme amongst every single Bachelor, Bachelorette season is like kind of like the emotional and mental state that people, like especially the Bachelor or the Bachelorette, go into it with the mindset of it. So it's like both of these girls, especially one of them, they went on as the Bachelorette to find love because they were very insecure about, they were like, no one has ever like shown me respect. No one has ever loved me the way I wanted to be loved before. And so...
Serious question though. Do you think they actually went on it because they actually wanted to find love? Or do you think they're actually playing parts because they're desperate for fame and attention?
I think it could be both.
Okay.
Follow-up question. Do they get paid to be on this?
I don't think
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay,
Actually,
like-
that was something we probably
life,
should have looked
right?
into.
Yeah,
but like,
come on.
I feel like, I mean,
But it's also technically reality TV. Do you get paid to be on reality?
Yeah, I think so.
For some
like-
reason, nobody's ever asked me to do reality TV.
I mean, oh yeah, they probably would because like, I mean, it's a show about them. People are gonna keep watching.
But I know
it,
they end
streaming
up
it and
like
stuff.
afterwards. They end up getting all these Instagram followers and like sponsorships, and like they become famous and rich from it. So, anyways, so
Speaking of Instagram, if you haven't already, go on over to our Instagram, which is... Somebody help me out. What is it?
honest
Two.
to God
Two.
number 2 underscore YA.
YA.
Honest to God _ YA.
By the time you're hearing this, there will be both a short of Ben shaving his legs and show notes Benny singing.
So definitely go
You got a
check
friend
that
in
out.
me. What is it, Gold Girls?
The Golden Girls.
Thank you for being a friend. That's what it is.
And I just looked it up, and the Bachelor and Bachelorette contestants are not paid.
Oh,
Interesting.
It's
They do.
literally
Okay,
just
one thing I would like to mention.
Man, so I wanna
they
go on
do
that
with like
show.
in the later episodes when there's fewer of them, they get these crazy excursions and like very exciting adventures, which is one thing that we had a really good like talk on one time because we were chatting, and there's like the sensation of like adrenaline and excitement and stuff is easily confused with like love.
Love, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they go on all
Endorphins
these
and
crazy like
dopamine.
near death experiences, but like they're like going on helicopter rides, or, like jumping off cliffs. And so they're like forming all these like emotional like chemical bonds by like all the hormones and craziness that's going on in your brain. And so they're like rushing like a whole relationship into like the span of 2 weeks. With like the actual time they get together. But going back to what you said earlier, I could talk for hours, man. Okay. You said, are they coming on for fame? Are they coming on for love? There's been like different scandals and stuff where like the people like were in relationships and ditched their girlfriend like right before they were trying to blow up their music career, whatever.
Right.
But I think generally the people who are like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette themselves like do go into it wanting love. But I think the problem is that they have just the most completely like distorted view of like what that is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is how could anybody go into that wanting love? But I hear what you're saying. Just in sort of our sort of desolate nothingness world that we live in.
But also it feels like if you feel like you can't find anyone and you have 30 guys or 30 girls all wanting you,
Right.
I mean, that feels pretty good, right? Like they have to, I don't know like how to say it, but like,
but,
I mean like,
But I still, when I think about love, I think about something that's probably very different than
but that's
what they're
how
assuming
they,
is love.
yeah.
But also, like, we got to remember these, like, the Bachelor and Bachelorettes are coming from past seasons as well. So they came from they failed at, they in their eyes.
Failed at love.
Yeah, basically, that's how they see it. Because it's like, I wasn't the winner in the end. I wasn't the one who got the guy. So I'm going to try again. So that's how they're, like.
But I think they're really looking for lust more than love.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I assume these are all very attractive people.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just cannot think about how awful it would be, not just for my relationship at the time, but for my relationship right now with my wife, had we had a camera crew following us around the whole time, and every fight and every misunderstanding and everything be blown up. And on top of that, we were both openly cheating on each other all the time with other people. Oh my goodness. To be able to YouTube my name or my wife's name and just see
all the clips, all the montages, all the great memories.
There's also the communication styles are just, I feel like they're terrible because at least from what we see, if there's any kind of argument, quarrel, debate, they shut down. Like, at least in the season that we were watching, the Bachelorettes, like, if they were confronted in any way, even when it was the guy, like, being like, hey, like, they're down to, like, the last 3 or 4, and like, hey, like, I know I shouldn't be, but I'm just really insecure that, like, you could be sleeping with other men. I don't know why.
Pretty valid concern on The Bachelor.
So valid, and instead of, like, consoling them, they were like, how could you possibly say that to me when I'm, like, so invested in our relationship? Why can't you trust me? Knowing that there's good reason for him not to. Like, there's a 1 in 3 chance that he's, like, gonna make it through and, like, have happily ever after with you. And even then, the chances are not that likely. I'm so sorry, Gabby and Rachel, if you're watching.
They definitely are. All right, what else? Lessons learned. I'm into this.
Okay, also one thing I want to kind of bounce off what Grace said about them, like overreacting about, like, when the guy was saying he's insecure. It's like, how could you not take my feelings in consideration? I was thinking about it earlier because we were, like, when we were, like, talking about this and stuff, like, especially on this season with Gabby and Rachel, since it was so brand new with having 2 bachelorettes, they were given so much freedom on how the show's gonna run. So, like, pretty much, like, that whole filming, it did revolve around, like, it revolved around them and it, like, their emotions and their feelings and what they wanted to do and everything like that. So, like what Grace was saying, whenever there was one bit of inconvenience, like in one of the first few episodes, there was one of the dudes who was probably like the first 2 weeks of everyone meeting each other. One of the guys was talking to the other guys and they were like, I don't know how I feel about the fantasy suites and how they're, like, sleeping with another dude when up there.
Right.
And
Valid.
they kicked him off. Because they were like, you have no right talking about the fantasy suites right now.
Who
like,
kicked him off?
The Bachelorette.
The Bachelorettes. Rachel and Gabby.
They got mad.
And they, like, made a whole scene about it and everything like that. Was he the one that didn't show up at the end?
Didn't show up at the end?
Yeah,
At the end of the show, they have a men's tell-all, and they bring back all the men.
Yeah.
And they just, like, a big gossip session, and they just, like, trash talk everyone.
Gross.
Yeah. And I think it might have been him or one other guy that was kicked off as well. But he didn't make
Is
it.
that for having COVID?
No.
They kicked one of them off for having COVID.
Poor Logan. He got COVID and then he never
Only
came
he
back.
loved enough not to have COVID.
No, he was in one episode and then he was gone.
You talking about the group dates made me think of the one moment in my life that I felt cooler than I've ever felt before or since. I don't think I'll ever get cooler than this. I might have told the story on air before. If not, I'm going to tell it right now. I was in college, and just by happenstance, every day for like 2 weeks, I went into this gas station. The same gas station. I smoked back then to buy cigarettes or a Coke or an energy drink or whatever. So I went to the same one every day. Every day for 2 weeks, the same guy was working behind the register. And every day for 2 weeks, when I went into that gas station, I was there with a different girl. One of them was like my girlfriend. One of them was like my friend's sister or my friend's girlfriend. But all he saw was me walk in with a different girl every single day for 2 weeks. It's a true story. And after about 2 weeks, I go up there to buy whatever I was buying, and he leans over the counter and he goes, how do you do it? And I say, what do you mean? And he said, every day I see you in here with a new girl. How do you do it? And I was so proud of myself in the moment because my immediate response, was like, oh, no, they're all friends. But I caught myself and I said something like, I can't teach it to you, brother, or something like that. And I walked away and I felt so cool.
Hit a button
It's
explosion
awesome.
in the background.
Never went to that gas station ever again because I knew I couldn't. No, I don't remember if I went back. But I was really proud of that moment.
You should go back now and see if he's still there
a
and
great
walk
idea.
in with Angie and your kids. Be like, it's not about how many, it's about the one.
And then the next day, go in with one of my friends' wives and all of their
uh-huh.
kids and say the same thing. That is a joke. We are against polygamy here on The Quest. We are also against pretty much everything taught in The Bachelorette, but that is what we were talking about today. Lessons learned.
But I think Pat was going to
we're
tell
gonna do
us.
some bouncing ideas off Pat. Is that the plan?
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Cause,
Pat was going to tell us what he would do if he was the Bachelorette.
yeah, well, I mean, first of all, I bring my own rose. Why even worry about that?
It's not like they're even expensive. You can
Yeah,
just,
like go to Publix. I'm like, can't kick me off. I got a rose. Like,
That's so true.
Problem
So
solved.
smart. Why has no one ever done that
Come
before?
on, guys.
Yeah.
Fools. Well, that's why they can't find love. They can't find a rose, first of all. Come on, guys. Yeah, that's step one. Step two, let's just not do that. That sounds so complicated.
Never ever go on the show.
Just
That
don't
is a
do
really
that.
good
Yeah.
step.
Just
feel
go out
like-
and meet somebody. Like,
Pat would be the guy that went on The Bachelorette, and then he was like standing there, but he was so like didn't want to be there. Obviously, didn't want to be there.
I'd be there
but
for the
girl,
buffet.
Yeah, but the girl like loved him. Like just
he was playing hard to
automatically,
get.
you were playing hard to get. But every single time you were
me,
like
guys.
sitting there, like the one-on-one, just like not talking about like anything,
Like,
or
on
just
your
talking
phone
about
the
yourself.
entire time.
But like you
Yeah.
make it to the last two, and you just hate that you're there the whole time.
They're doing the cliff
Dude.
jumping thing,
I would
and
watch
normally
that.
it's like the cutesy scene where they like hold hands and go together, and he just like leaves her. He just jumps, goes.
He doesn't even
full
smile.
pencil
He
eye.
looks bored on the way
I
down.
would send it. It's funny you say that about sitting there and acting like I don't want to be there, because that absolutely relates back to my current job. For like the last 2 years, I have I've just wanted to just quit this job, and somehow I get in deeper and deeper, and now like I'm managing the place, and like I don't know what happened. I woke up and I was like, why?
Shout out to Pat's job.
It's like, how did I not quit? Like, why am I still here? It's that would be the Bachelorette. Which one am I the guy?
Pat is an ER nurse, just so everybody knows.
Well, no, not anymore.
Totally uninterested
That
in his job.
was a different life. No, I'm over at the airport. People fly and stuff.
Oh,
For
good.
those-
We
for
really
those
like
who-
our air traffic controllers disinterested.
You guys are
Like,
welcome.
is that a
I'm here
plane?
for it.
I don't care.
You figure it out. You got the license. I got the chair. You do
Well,
it.
let's get back, Grace, into some, because you said you got some great questions, and I want to go a little bit deeper into some of this, because I do think, as many jokes and everything as we're doing, I think there's something valuable this show tells us about, like, human nature and why, we as people really like watching train wrecks for some reason. It's the reason we struggle with gossiping. It's the reason that we are drawn to, like, all of these failures and destruction of other people's lives for some reason. And so I think the two big things are, why are we drawn to that? And then why is there so much brokenness that's causing people to go on some show where love is presented in the most disordered way possible that also jives totally with our disordered cultural understanding of love. So
Yeah.
dig into some of the stuff you've got.
Okay, well, I think a lot of it goes into like the definition of love, and like on the show they have conversations about it, because obviously like love is a word that's thrown around and people want to make sure they're on the same page. But it's never like the true definition of like the kind of love that's like giving of self and like the most pure form of love. It's always like, oh, the feeling, like they make me feel good, or they validate my feelings or whatever. And so, like we were saying before, whenever like any kind of conflict comes in, they run the other way, and it shows like so much of the brokenness within the world, because in this season, Gabby shared that she had like a really hard time in her family life when she was growing up, and that I think her dad was out of the picture, and her mom and her like really struggled to have a good relationship, and so that kind of like created this like deep-seated insecurity that she's not going to be a good mother. And so that's like a fear that she doesn't really have to face on the daily, but it's like she's like pulling it along with her. And one of the men that was on the show had a daughter. He
made it like pretty high too. Like I think he was like in the top 7 or something like that. And yeah, and they were on it was like a group date, I think. And then she like pulled him aside like after she found out he had a kid, and she was like, I can't do this. Like I can't be a mom right now. Like I just don't think I'm capable of that. And so
It was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
So let's say out loud, and not to get all serious all of a sudden on this sort of lighter topic, but you were talking about their misunderstanding of the definition of love. What is the definition of love?
Is it in the catechism defined as willing the good of the other? Right?
Yeah,
Putting their good before your own.
Willing the good of another for their own sake. I think.
then that goes in what is good. I feel like in today's society, the lines are so blurred. There's so much gray area that maybe they truly do believe that they're willing the good of another when they're like giving into lust and all these things, because they don't know what goodness really is.
Right, they equate good with self-gratification.
Yeah. Mhm.
Right, good is what makes me feel good in the here and now. Yeah. No, that's good. That's really good. Keep going, Grace. I know you've got you came bearing notes.
Okay, I just wanted to share a few of these quotes, because these were like some of the times it just like broke our hearts, because like when we were watching this and we're like, oh, and we had to pause it and we were just like, that's what happened.
Wait, there was sometimes also like, yeah, we'd literally just be like, that's it. We can't watch it for the rest of the night. Like, we just have to stop, or like we would like pause and have a deep discussion. Like, we can't hop back on it. Also, there was sometimes like they say stuff and like I'm like standing at this point. I couldn't even sit down. I'm like standing like, why would you say that? Or I'm like.
We're genuinely like rooting for these women, and we're like, no, Gabby, no, like this is not good for you, and we're like screaming at the TV. You know how guys do with sports? That's us with the Bachelor.
Right.
And like, so okay, but some of the quotes though that I did write down was at one point. Okay, I mentioned this earlier in the other room. At one point, Gabby says something like, "Oh, I don't trust men," and I was like, how? I feel like you're not ready for an engagement if you don't trust men.
Men as a category.
Okay. But then going back to like this heartbreaking side of things, like at one point she's like sobbing because she's like all like her emotions are tied up in like 3 different men at once. It's not good for you.
There's so many tears the whole time.
And one of them decides to leave or something, and she's like, am I just too broken for someone to love? And I was like, oh no, Gabby, you're not too broken. Like, it's okay. There's redemption for everyone. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I just want like the good for them. And I just don't know if they know what that is.
I would watch a series called The Bachelorette, but Grace is there. And you just follow the Bachelorette around.
We've talked about that so many times.
Bachelorette rehab with Grace.
She's like holding him. She's like, you are okay.
You are enough. Great, Princess of Heaven, and it's okay. Your worth is not tied up in their opinions.
It's not. Your worth is tied up in the fact that you are a princess of heaven. You're a daughter of the king. Amen. Okay.
Amen.
But like, okay, even Rachel, the other girl that was with her, like she at one point, she's like, am I worthy of love? And it's like the fact that you're putting yourself, maybe unknowingly, but you're putting yourself in these situations where you're going to start asking yourself these questions. It's like before you go pursuing a relationship, a serious relationship, an engagement, you should be trying to kind of, I don't know, you need to have some kind of understanding of like your worth and like what love actually is before you get into that, because otherwise like there's not going to be any kind of stability.
Well, bringing it back to what we were talking about earlier with self-gratification and how I feel and our inability to love in this culture. I think it's because we are taught and we are trained from a really early age that love, like you said, is a feeling, but also that love, a significant other, right, a romantic partner, their worth and their goodness is tied up in how they make you feel and whether or not you feel better and emotionally supported. And I think we've talked about that before on the show, but all that is a lack of emotional chastity, and it really is use. It's a relationship of utility where you're using this other person to make you feel better. You're using them as a crutch because you're not confident enough in who you are as a human being to like actually stand alone, right? You don't understand that you, regardless of how you feel about me or my wife feels about me, right? That I am a prince of heaven and I'm a child of God and I am loved eternally and meant to spend eternity with my creator who loves me more than I can imagine. And that all sounds like big picture and whatever, but it's really the most simple, basic thing in the world. My 4-year-old understands that so much more than I do, and so much more than whoever these people are on The Bachelorette, because we grow up and we get inundated with all this nonsense and all these lies from the devil about who we are and what we're made for.
Another thing that, like another instance in the Bachelorette history, I guess, I don't know, I think it was a fairly recent season, but there was, Hannah B was the Bachelorette, and there was a man named Luke P, who was a Christian, who was like villainized for his beliefs, because I think once again it was kind of towards the later episodes, and he started talking with her about like fantasy suites and how he like didn't really feel comfortable with her sleeping with the other men and stuff. And
that bigot.
Yeah, and there's like horrible fight, and so here he is like trying to like actually love her and like will the good for her and call her out in like a way. I think he did it like. I think he did it fairly well, but also like there were some times he said things that he maybe shouldn't have. But she like, I don't know, I think she was so agitated by the fact that she was also a Christian. So I think there might have been some conviction there too. And so she kind of blew up at him and she was like rattling off all of these things like, don't shame me. Like, it's my body. I can do whatever I want. And like, at one point she goes like, you know, he was like, if you are serious about like wanting to explore your other relationships physically, I'm going to have to like, I want to have a conversation with you, but I'm going to have to leave.
Good for him.
Exactly.
Big shout out to Lucas P.
He actually is from Gainesville, Georgia.
Heck yeah. Way to go, Gainesville.
But her response was like, the words you're saying are not okay. And that was another moment I was like, what is this? Because this was one thing I stumbled upon when I was just like doing some research for this episode. I didn't actually watch the whole season, so maybe I'm missing out on something. I don't have the full picture.
I
don't want to be spreading lies.
I watched that whole season.
Okay. Because I mean, I feel like that was like one of those sad moments. And at the end of the argument, I think she felt that he was using religion against her. Mm. So she had this whole thing, and she was like, well, Jesus still loves me. And I was like, yes, like, of course, Hannah, of course he still loves you, but he doesn't want this for you. Right. Like, he loves you so much that he wants you to not sleep with men that you're not married to.
That's really heroic, though, of that one guy.
That's what I thought.
To kind of lose out on this thing and cause all this controversy that I'm sure he realized was not going to be good for him. To say, like, hey, this is what's actually true. Because, and I'm not making a diagnosis of his love or not, but I'm saying that's what real love actually looks like. Looking at somebody and saying, like, hey, I know this is going to hurt your feelings and you're not going to feel good when I say this, but that's bad for you. And I know you don't want it to be bad for you because you like it and you're comfortable, but it's bad for you and you should stop doing that.
He was like super villainized throughout the whole show. And they always need a villain every season. So like he was their villain that they chose. And they painted him a really bad light. And so like when he did, like by the point that they got to that point where he was like calling her out for that, everyone kind of already hated him because he was already like the villain. And so like he was saying good things, but like everyone watching on TV was like already turned off from it because they didn't like him.
Was he the villain because they isolated things he said and put like foreboding music behind it? Like that kind of stuff?
There was like one scene where like it was like
lightning crack in the sky behind him. It was
so weird. I don't know. There was just like these scenes. There's one where he was like, they show scenes where like all the guys are in their dorm together, and he's just like staring at this one guy, and they just like it's just funny because it was like he wasn't actually doing anything, but like they like darken.
They slow it down and dun behind him. That would be you, Pat.
It would be me.
Pat would be the villain.
I promise you, I just go to the buffet line like every day. That'd be the only reason. If I'm not getting paid to be there.
Buffet to the pool, back to the buffet.
Yeah, I would just be
gain
chilling.
40 pounds.
I would be relaxing like nothing else.
They don't let you bring your phone with you.
Well,
None of them have their phones the whole time.
I'll have a buffet and a pool. I don't need it. Like, yeah.
Okay. Another thing. Okay, that was absolutely bonkers, driving crazy. Like we said, we don't endorse this. Like, don't go watch The Bachelorette. Terrible show. So many trash scenes you have to skip through it, and whole episodes you have to skip. And speaking of which, it was one of the first like group date kind of things. The men all did like a talent show thing, but there was a fashion portion where they were all wearing Speedos. I'm like, that is so objectifying.
Right.
And if roles were reversed, can you imagine if The Bachelor had it like a bikini thing going on? No, like people would be up in arms about this, but nothing is said. And it's like completely okay. And it's like fun and it's funny and it's like, oh my goodness. But it's like, oh, that made me so upset. I was like, can people not see that like they're literally being objectified?
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Did people get eliminated based solely on the Speedo round? That's a serious question. It sounds like the kind of show
I think they did soon after that have like a roast ceremony.
They wouldn't say that was for the reason, but probably.
That's honestly probably because like the whole thing is based on attraction.
Y'all, I'm trying to find. Give me something redeeming about this show other than
Sean Lowe.
It's a great example of how not to do. It's a great way to point just with your mouth open and be like, at everything.
I don't have anything.
Well, my question was going to be, can they not just like fight? Like, can we not get like 30 guys and they just fight? And it's like last man standing. That would be awesome. Would it be a whole season worth of stuff? No. But I just watched 30 minutes of people like in a ring just duking it out.
They could do it like a bracket.
Like,
you could
lots
have
of slow.
I mean all at once. Like,
okay.
I mean like.
But then you have like alliances
standing.
and then breaking them. There'd be drama in that,
cool.
you know?
That'd be cool.
That would be something else. Which? Sorry, show notes.
Show notes, Benny.
What's?
No, I figured we were fighting right now.
Oh yeah, yeah, we are. Afterwards, I was like, I'm getting hit from my side. What's happening? I thought something was on fire for a moment. Could we set the building on fire that they're in? And like,
during the fight,
yes,
tell them beforehand.
During the fight, let's just make this like a short season. but like a lot of just life or death stuff happens.
No, I
That's
think
what we
they-
need. Some like wholesome, clean, good fun.
Fight.
yeah, some violence.
Yeah, but they show up unaware that that's how it goes. They think
Absolutely.
they're just gonna have buffets
Absolutely.
and pools.
Don't they roll up in like random like cars and such, and they all have like the suits on?
Yeah.
And like
Limousines
as
and
soon as
stuff.
like it's the normal, and then as soon as they enter, it's just like roped into just
The let's get ready to
just
rumble guy comes out.
hectic.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it would be awesome.
I would actually probably watch that.
I would watch that. This I know.
Okay, I will say, okay, so like I was like racking my brain. I was like, okay, there has to be something good about it.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I think the only thing that I personally find good is what Grace was like mentioning like earlier on and like the beginning of the episode was like the drama portion of it, because I don't have a lot of drama in my life. I don't. So like it's really fun to see that on other people.
Wait,
Oh
so
my
are you
gosh,
saying
wait,
the
wait.
good thing is
No,
that
it's not good, but that's the only thing that I found like funny. There was okay,
That's
they're actually
not good.
No, it's not. But like just like the amount of like, oh my gosh, that these girls think like there was one time they had a disagreement because it was after meeting the family. Oh, it was after the guy met her family.
Okay.
And she had like two friends there, and they like took the guy off. Like the guy went and talked to the dad, and then talked to the mom, and then talked to the two friends that she brought. And he was like in his like little like conversation having, like it was going really good. The family really liked him. But with the two friends, he was like, I want to get engaged, but I don't like, but it's moving really fast, but I want to get engaged to her. But they took it as he's not ready to get engaged yet. He doesn't want to get engaged. So they went and told Rachel that. And then Rachel has this whole conversation with him. And then, oh my gosh.
What do we think of that? Don't gossip.
Exactly.
Oh, nice.
And then
Takeaway.
But then they were talking, and the guy he's like that's not what I said, that's not what I'm saying. And he's like kind of like trying to like defend himself. And then she goes, "Why are you yelling at me?" And we were like, he was
not yelling
he was
at
like
all.
talking, he was talking softer than I am right now.
Right.
I was like, and we were like, I think I paused it right there. I rewinded to like listen to him, and I was like, and then everyone ate him up for it. And then he was actually wait.
We started using it like in our daily life. They'd be like, "Can you pass the milk?" And be like, "Why are you yelling at me?"
And that's exactly how she said it. Oh my gosh. And then and then the thing about it, and then he wasn't the guy she chose, obviously. And then the guy she ended up choosing, there was a big fallout. They didn't even end up together. There was a big scandal that happened. Everyone painted him the villain. And then at the end, they bring him back onto the show in front of a live audience to watch the last episode and like paint all the bad things he did, which, okay, I will say it was not a good decision, but there was wrong on both sides. There was wrong from Rachel and there was wrong from the guy.
Sounds like it's all wrong.
It
Sounds like
is,
everything is
I
all
know,
wrong.
But like they were all, but Rachel was the victim. She was the one that was like everyone
Painted as
defended
the
her.
victim.
But wait. So listen, I'm almost done. I promise.
Didn't mean to cut
okay?
you off. Yeah.
I'm
Thank
getting
you.
very passionate here about this.
And then
You just turn my mic off, producer Ben, if you want. Let Madeline
and so
go.
they made him do like a big apology on a live audience that like it definitely was forced, and they made him stay on there, and then they made him stay on there as that guy that she like was like, "Why are you lying to me?" He came back, got her, left with her, and left the other dude standing there. And I was like,
But he was like, he literally sat there. And
he was like, he literally turned to
you
the
could
guy.
see him mouth.
He was like, "Can I leave?" And they didn't. They made him stand there. Yeah. And I was like, it was like, that one, okay.
And they're not
okay,
even getting paid for any of this.
Exactly. Okay, and I said
The
it was
buffet
funny, but I
better
said
be good.
it's funny in a bizarre way that's like, how is this even real? Sorry,
No, it all just screams.
What it is it's volunteering for emotional torment.
Yes, it is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Do you want to be treated like you're a 12-year-old girl?
Yeah, how do they sell that to people?
for a
Like,
couple of months.
for 2 months, I want you to go live with
'cause
30
you
other
get super
people.
famous.
I don't
and just
think-
get
Yeah.
beat up.
You
I
get
don't
super
think-
famous.
I don't think they have to sell it to people. People
don't
just watch
think-
the show and apply.
Would Sean
like to say, like-
Lowe be coming on this show if he hadn't been on there? Would he have achieved this level of fame? had he
Yeah,
not
we don't
been
even
on
know
The
his
Bachelor?
name.
Yeah.
I didn't know until
Well, now
you
you
told
do.
me. That's the thing. Like, are they really getting any fame? Like,
Yeah.
name two people.
They have, like,
I'm gonna tell
millions
you
of
right
Sean
now.
Lowe and Lucas P. I can do it just from
They have
here.
millions of followers on Instagram.
Millions.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that like
Everybody
this, but I'm
slow
just
down.
like.
All right, so all of this, and we've been sort of going off on this for a while, and I have to because I'm not very good at hiding my biases. But here's a serious question: what does the fact that this is like big budget, super popular entertainment, what does that say about our culture as a whole? Producer Ben.
I think it says that we love feeling better than others.
Yeah.
We love to be able to look
yeah.
at oh, they're doing it wrong. We could do it better.
Right.
We know how that situation would go if we were there. We could do it better, and we like seeing others being, I don't know, tormented, and we like both feeling bad for them, and then we like hating on the ones that make the others feel bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this sounds terrible, and I'll be a little vulnerable here because I do feel like it's worth saying. I would be lying if I said when I hear somebody who I think is like really got it together in life, when I hear about some bad decision they made or something, if there wasn't a little like bad part of me coming from my concupiscence, my sinfulness, that's not like, yeah, see, you're not as good as whatever. And that's gross and that's bad, but I think we all feel that to some extent. And I think that watching shows like this, I think it is that reminder of, all right, so I might be screwed up, but at least I'm not like freaking, who had Gabby over there? Oh my gosh.
Well, we also like passing judgment on people.
Right. We love to judge people.
We love judging people.
Yes.
It's so easy to do with the TV because like I don't even know them. And it's so easy because I don't know them as a person, and I just judge their actions.
Gossip with your friends too.
Yeah.
It's guilt free because we're not hurting them. It's not like there's somebody that I know, right? I know I bring a lot of stuff back to pornography, but it is. It's like, oh, nobody's getting hurt here, right? This is just I'm not doing anything to that person, right? I'm seeing these things and getting these benefits. I feel like, right, from doing this, participating in this, and they're so removed that I don't feel like they're actually human beings, right? I think it's the same thing with reality television as it is with pornography.
I think something to build off with the reality TV is it creates the expectation that that's the norm in today's society. To, like you guys were saying earlier, you don't have any drama in your life, so like let's go watch TV about the drama. It's like it presents the idea that you should have this amount of drama, you should have this craziness, when that's not the fact. I mean, drama happens one way or another, but definitely not to that extent where there's 30 men who are wearing Speedos and have roses, and I don't know what they're doing.
I've never had that kind of drama in my life.
I can say I haven't either. That's a little bit weird, but it does create that norm or thought that that's the norm and that's what people should be having in their life. So, yeah,
totally.
Words from Pat.
I don't know. I agree. I like what you're saying about like how we like to watch train wrecks. It's like when there's a car crash on the side of the road and everyone slows down and like has to stare and look. It's the same thing. Like we like watching other people's lives fall apart in a way. It's like a sick. And
it's so broken and backwards and not okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we all experience it. I think we'd be lying if we said, no, not me. I hate 100% whenever I hear something bad happen.
Which is so weird because there's no goodness in that.
Right.
Like, why do we enjoy that?
Yeah, it's good.
Like, if you really think about it, it's like we shouldn't find enjoyment in that anyway. But like, there's just a part of you that's like, oh, I like that.
Yeah, and even if you don't find necessarily like enjoyment in it, like thinking of like the car crash situation, if you're driving and like a car is actively wrecking, because that's what's happening when you're watching The Bachelorette. Like it's actively happening. You're watching, and you're like, oh no, like, and you're rooting for the people. You're like, oh, I hope they're okay, and like I hope this ends up well. But you know that it's not going to. But you still have to watch. You know what I mean? But once again, don't watch The Bachelorette.
This is not an endorsement.
We watched it so you don't have to.
Also, after the last, we did in fact finish out the season, but we were like, we can't. This is not good for us. We're not. This is not healthy for us to keep watching this.
Well, it's little like dopamine hits or something that from the worst way possible. Yeah. But just go for a hike.
Live your own life.
Go visit the old folks' home up the road and go talk to those sweet old ladies.
Maybe date one guy or one girl.
Yeah, at a time, not 30. Yes, that is really good advice. All right, guys. Well, with that, as much as I would love to keep going down the rabbit hole and start talking about keeping up with the Kardashians or whatever, we are almost out of time, and we didn't get to do cards last time, so I wanted to do cards this time. So everybody's got their Loaded Questions Junior cards, so we keep it all PG here on Honest to God.
Perfect.
Make it so we can air at 4 p.m. and not get our shows YouTubed only or Spotify'd only.
Best viewing time, 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Best time to listen to Honest to God. 4 p.m. 5 p.m.
Just a 4. Just any
4 p.m. on Saturdays.
4 p.m. on Saturdays.
All 4s. Anything that ends in a 4 starts with a 4.
It's Saturday today. We got a new episode coming out in a couple hours. It's exciting. Yeah. Which one is it?
This week's episode that's coming out, I believe, is... I should know this. I uploaded it like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Not the Advent one. The other one we did.
The What's on Your Mind?
Not What's on Your Mind.
Idols.
It was American Idols. Yeah, that was a good one.
You guys.
Great one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think did you keep in the singing at the beginning?
Yes, I did. It was fantastic.
Amazing.
I can't wait for those copyright infringement, cease and desist letters?
we're all right.
Yeah, we're good. All right, cool. All right, we're going to do cards, and we're going to start with Annie.
Oh, okay. We weren't that great, really great options. But what is your favorite song? Dinosaur by Hank Williams Jr. is my
Shut
favorite
up.
song.
I love Dinosaur.
Do you know who
I love
introduced you to
Hank
that
Jr.
song?
Was it me?
Yeah.
I introduced you to
We were
that?
on a beach retreat. It was like
is
freshman
so
year. And
trendy.
you and Brendan Floody. No last names.
Full circle.
That's really cool.
You guys are playing the song, and I was like, this is a good song. And I literally listened to it on the way here.
That's awesome.
I love that song.
Yeah, Hank Jr., he's the man. We're going to have him on the show, too. That's going to complete our four-piece of Jeff Goldblum, Jordan Peterson, Lucas P. from The Bachelor, and Hank Jr.
There you go.
Pumped. All right, what you got, Madeline?
I just choose one.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. If you could be an expert at one thing, what would it be? I would love to be an expert skateboarder.
Really?
I think that would be so cool. I'm literally wearing a
Skateboard.
Santa Cruz t-shirt right now.
Do you
I would-
skateboard?
I do, but I haven't in a while.
Okay.
But I just have a cruiser right now, so I can just ride it. I can't do any tricks.
Right.
But if I could do like tricks and like the half pipe and stuff,
That'd
and
be
just
really
like tear a hill, that would be so
I
cool.
played a
to do.
ton of Tony Hawk Pro Skater back in like 1999.
Nice.
Sick.
Yeah.
Best
Yeah.
game.
All right, Grace.
Okay. So I'm currently in the midst of finals week at my college. And the question is, what makes you want to study harder? And I'll tell you this right now, it's when I calculate my grade probably 3/4 of the way through the semester. And I'm like, I have to get what on every quiz to like keep my grade? So that's what personally drives me.
I'm a dean of academics at the school, and it being towards the end of the semester, this is the time when everybody is calling me and emailing me as if this is the first time they ever had seen their grades, saying, what can I do to not fail? What can I do to get this B to an A or C to a B or whatever? So I appreciate that, Grace. Yeah.
Did we do Dan? We skipped.
No, we
mean
skipped
Pat?
Dan.
Sorry,
We're coming back to
Dan.
Pat.
Coming back to Pat.
We're coming back. We're saving Pat for last.
Sorry, Dan.
we?
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's
Pat.
Pat.
You look a lot
are you
like
talking
this
about?
guy.
He does look
get-
like Dan.
He does look like
I
Dan.
get that a lot, funny
No,
enough. And I was told that I look like somebody named Rick, but you spell it R-I-C.
No, I
and,
think he looks like
it's
Dave
weird.
without an E.
I
You mean
I heard
Floor
that
Dave?
earlier.
Floor Dave, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Floor
yeah,
Dave. He was
yeah.
on an episode.
Floor-
Well,
yeah.
It's
I-
pretty cool.
yeah.
I don't know about that. I heard. Yeah.
Producer Ben, what you
Okay,
got?
mine is, what is your favorite cereal? I've been bullied for this because I've been told it's an old people cereal, but Honey Bunches of Oats.
I thought
That's
you,
your
That's-
favorite
is my
cereal.
I thought you were going to
cereal.
say, I
Thanks, shouldn't have been a gamma
thought you were
back.
going to say CTC.
What?
Captain-
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Oh,
No, I'm really not
Really?
a fan of Cinnamon Toast
so
Crunch.
good.
I thought you were
Captain
gonna
Crunch
say-
peanut butter.
Girl, no,
So
I'm a
good.
purist Captain Crunch guy, but I can throw down some Captain Crunch. All right, I've got where would you hate to be alone? This one's kind of sappy, but it's true. At my job, I love my job. I love it, but I hate it when I'm there by myself. And doing the academic stuff is getting to be that time of the year when I'm about to be alone in an office working on
You said where
spreadsheets.
would. You have been. So I feel
And
like
I
that's like,
would hate to be there again. Pat, finish it
All
up.
right. So I got, if you were your school's principal, what is the first thing you would do? And let's kick out like half the academic classes. Who needs calculus and all this stuff?
Nobody.
Pointless. Absolutely pointless.
No one's ever used math.
And let's put in trades. Let's teach people trades. Woodworking, welding, automotive.
Basket weaving.
Underwater basket weaving.
sewing.
Sports.
Sports training.
Sports training.
Yeah.
Strength and conditioning.
Trades.
Dig it.
Trades. Cattle wrangling. Cat wrangling. Wrangling.
I want a Catholic trade school to open up. We really
Let's
need
do it.
some more
Let's
Catholic
start
trade
it.
schools.
Let's start it tomorrow.
I feel like it'd be all
So-
men, which is, I mean, warm good community, but I don't know that many women.
What if, and this is probably sexist and misogynistic, and I'll get an email. What if you had trades, and women can do the trades too, right? You could have a woman who's doing the carpentry thing, but you also had a home ec degree that you made you called it an MRS degree.
That's kind of funny.
Interesting. Well, let me one up you. Let's tie it all together. Let's have a trade school. Let's have it where it's everyone who's like going on to the Bachelor and Bachelorette. They can actually get a decent job, get a decent personality, and then find
And
somebody
then
decent.
not go on the Bachelorette.
and then not go on the Bachelorette because they
You steal
have
the
a job.
application.
Yes, your
Yeah.
goal is to
Yeah.
not be on it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like that is a fitting way to end this episode of Honest to God.
Indubitably.
Thank you guys, all of y'all, for being here. It was a blast. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. It is always fun to be here, guys. You're listening to AM 1160 The Quest, Atlanta's Catholic Radio. This is Honest to God. Producer Ben,
Signing off.
over and out.